Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on our weekly political program on Lagos Television. I am Ajibola Ojeshola. Interesting times in the world of politics, from Lagos down to Osun State and in some other parts of the country as well. Politicians doing what they know how best to do, but how legal are some of the actions of some of these political gladiators? Tonight on the program, we'll be focusing essentially on that ugly development in Osun State over who should be the rightful owner to occupy the seat of local government chairman in Osun State. That's our focus tonight on the program. But before we engage our guest, who is going to tell us about the legality of some of the actions of the political gladiators in Osun State tonight, we'll take a very short break to bring you some of the summary of political development in the country. Stay with us. We'll be right back. You're still on to the Pendulum, coming to you live on Lagos Television. I did say before that break that I'll be looking at the political crisis rocking the state of Osun, in particular at the grassroots level. Over the weekend, the executive governor of Osun State, Governor Adeleke, did cry out that the Honorable Minister of Blue Economy and Marine is actually doing a lot as regards who should occupy the seat of local government chairman in Osun State. And of course, that may trigger some crisis. During the course of this week, we have seen that people have lost their lives and, of course, some property damage because of the actions of these political gladiators. We have someone joining us this evening who will tell us the constitutionality of the actions of some of these actors in Osun State. It is a pleasure to welcome to the Pendulum this evening Barrister Festus Ogun. Is also a human rights activist. It's a pleasure to have you tonight. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's start from the legality of what is happening in Osun State, where lives and, of course, some properties have been lost. Speak to us as regards the judgment of the Appeal Court of Akure Division, which was delivered on the 10th of February, as well as that of the Federal High Court in Osun State, regarding who should be the rightful occupants of local government in Osun State.
The truth of the matter is that, assuming that we are a country where laws govern our affairs and where the rule of law reigns supreme, we shouldn't be even having this conversation in the first place. I say this because the judgment of the Court of Appeal, delivered sometime early this month, was only to the effect that, look, the case filed by the PDP against the planned conduct of the election in Osun State in 2022 was not competent, and that the High Court, the Federal High Court that entertained the matter, should not have entertained the matter. That was what the Court of Appeal said. But on the other hand, there is also another judgment of the Federal High Court, delivered on the 20th day of November 2022. That judgment was delivered pursuant to a lawsuit that was filed by the All People's Party, the APP. Now, after the APP filed the case against the Osun State Independent Electoral Commission, the APC, and the rest of them, the Federal High Court, gave a judgment which was to the effect that the local government council election that was conducted by OCEC in 2022 was, invalid, and consequentially, all local government council chairmen and all councillors, that were products of that election were sacked from office. That very judgment of APP was equally challenged at the Court of Appeal by the APC. But guess what happened? The APC abandoned that petition, that appeal. For 23 good months, they did not pursue that appeal diligently. And so, in January 2025, the Court of Appeal dismissed that appeal of the APC on the basis that it was not diligently prosecuted. Now, the implication is that after today, after which the Court of Appeal has dismissed that appeal filed by the APC against the AAP judgment, the AAP judgment of the Federal High Court, wherein the election of the ousted chairman and their
councillors,
respective councillors, the simple implication is that that judgment is still valid and subsisting. So if a judgment is still valid and subsisting, the mere fact that another judgment was struck out does not necessarily invalidate a subsisting judgment. So as it stands today, there is a judgment of the APP that the APC have not successfully challenged. Maybe they thought that, the case filed by APC was more powerful or more prominent or has more potentiality than the one filed by APP. I would not know. But as it stands today, the judgment of the APP is still valid and subsisting. They are meant to be obeyed. Anything done contrary to that judgment would be contentious. and it will be a natural invitation to anarchy.
So what then is the APC and the former governor of the state riding on to cause the mayhem that we are experiencing in Osun State?
I am just like an happy Nigerian. I'm equally taken aback, because let's even assume, just for the purpose of argument, that the Court of Appeal actually ordered that, the elected chairman, the sacked chairman should be reinstated. Let's assume that that never happened. That the Court of Appeal said, please reinstate these people. The fact that you now go, because they said, be reinstated, you now go to the local government council trying to forcefully, return to office, is not and cannot be the contemplation of law. Because what they are simply doing is resorting to self-help. There are ways and manner with which, under our law, under our jurisprudence, one can enforce judgment. There are procedures for enforcing judgment, not by taking law into one's hand or engaging in what I consider as political gangsterism. I do not believe so, because we are a country operating a democracy, not just a democracy. We are not operating an ordinary democracy. We are operating a constitutional democracy, where the actions of everyone, including those in high places, has to conform with the dictates and letters of our constitution. So, the point I labor to make is that, as it stands, even if there was a judgment, directing their reinstatement, you do not reinstate yourself by forcefully, bagging and breaking into the local government council areas. That would, amount to taking, recklessness and arbitrariness too far. Now, take a look at it. This set of individuals could not have enforced any judgment, because in the Court of Appeal judgment, which they are riding on, there is nothing to be enforced. Because all the court said was that, look, the lower court lacks jurisdiction to entertain the matter.
Okay.
So that was simply what the court said. There was no consequential order reinstating them. And what is more, there is a valid and subsisting order of the court of the Federal High Court, which the APC has unsuccessfully challenged. They tried to challenge it. They didn't compile record. They didn't transmit record for 23 months against the provision of our Court of Appeal procedural rules.
Okay. All right.
What I feel is that those that are beating the drums of war in Osun State should be told that you do not cause mayhem. You do not cause breakdown of law and order because the political order is no longer in your interest. That is the way I see it. Because there is no legal basis. There is no legal, moral, or constitutional basis
to justify your action.
That justifies the forceful takeover of power. What law are they relying on? What judgment are they relying on? I have read the judgment continuously. I do not see anywhere where the Court of Appeal said they should go and resume.
Okay.
I have also not seen
Barrister Festus,
they have successfully challenged the judgment in the APP's case.
Barrister Festus, I read on the pages of newspaper earlier today that OSEC is going to go ahead with that election slated for Saturday rather. Would OSEC be violating any law at all if indeed that election holds on Saturday?
By dint of the decision of the Supreme Court last year in the case instead by the Attorney General of the Federation against the states, the Supreme Court made it abundantly clear that there must be in place democratically elected local government council members. In fact, the Supreme Court made it clear that if there are no democratically elected council members, the local government councils should not be given any allocation that accrues to them. Because what the law recognizes is not caretaker chairman. No, that is not the contemplation of law. Because if we have caretaker chairman, maybe we will also have caretaker governors, caretaker presidents. What the Constitution requires, as firmly formulated by the Supreme Court in that case, is that there must be in place a democratically elected council members in the local government. If that is the case, I dare say that, considering that those that were earlier democratically elected have been sacked by a court of competent jurisdiction, a federal high court of competent jurisdiction, that's in the APP's case, and the Court of Appeal has also failed. The APC has also failed in their bid to challenge the judgment. Then I believe it is imperative that an election be held. Okay. As you are aware, Ekiti State, Osun State.
All right, we seem to be having some network issues, and hopefully Barrister Festus will connect with us again so that we can continue our discussion on the crisis rocking the local government in Osun State. Let me quickly bring you up to speed as regards what is happening in Osun State right now. As at 10 a.m. this morning, we've been told that some chairmen and councillors that were elected in the October 15, 2022 local government election in the state had resumed in about 14 local government areas of the state. And these include Ila, Ede South, Ife Central, Ife East, Ife North, Elisha East, Elisha West, Borikwe, Uriade, and Obokun local governments. Others where they resumed also include Ejibo, Iwo, Ayedire, and Borikwe local government secretariat. And what we really do not know is how these people intend to function when we still have a court judgment that still persist, saying that they do not have the constitutional right to occupy that office again. And OSEC, which is the State Independent Electoral Commission of Osun State, is saying that that election for local government in Osun State will still go on Saturday as scheduled. So this is a wake-up call to the security agents in that state to please put all arrangement in place so as to avoid unnecessary loss of lives and property in Osun State. We'll be taking a very short break on the program at this moment to bring you the soundbite of the week. We'll be back on the Pendulum.
The bone of contention is the brazen effrontery to return to office council chairman sacked by a subsidiary court judgment using a different court decision, which has no consequential order. Let me make it clear that the said council chairman was sacked before I was sworn in as governor of Osun State, contrary to the lies being peddled that the chairman and councillors were sacked by my executive order. For emphasis, I want to state that I had nothing to do with the sacking of the chairman and councillor produced by the Osun 2022 local government polls. The chairman and councillor were sacked by the two different judgments of the Federal High Court, Osogbo.
You're still watching the Pendulum on Lagos television. That was Governor Ademola Adeleke calling on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to please intervene in the crisis rocking Osun State. And I told you earlier that 14 of those chairmen actually occupy the secretariat of those local governments in Osun State today. They are members of the APC, and so far they were in Ila, Ede South, Ife Central, Ife East, Ife North, Elisha East, Elisha West, Borikpe, Oriade, Obokun, Ejibo, Iwo, Ayedire. Earlier today, security operatives are on ground to maintain law and order so as to avoid what we had witnessed earlier this week, where some people were killed and, of course, some properties were also damaged. We just hope that normalcy would return to Osun State so that OSEC, which is the electoral body of the state, will be able to organize that local government election come Saturday. Unfortunately, Barrister Festus Ogun was not able to rejoin us again on the program because of technical issues. We hope that the people of Osun will comply with the ruling of the Court of Appeal in the state. So that's the much we can take on the Pendulum this evening. We thank you very much for watching. Do remember to join us again next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. I am Ajibola Ojishola. Bye for now.